nothing but the dog in me. One must die, chase the cat.
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents, where there's never a dull moment. This was another one of those nights where we almost had a technological disaster, and I have to thank Nate for, as always, being able to figure it out and fix it up and patch it up and make it all better. So I know you're in there, whether you're listening or not. Thank you again. Don't know what I would do without you. Anyway, I'm seeing a lot of reports coming through on Facebook and in the news and in the, you know, all of my little sources where there are still dogs being left in hot cars. We're not past that. It's certainly not cool enough to think that it's going to be okay. So people, please be on the lookout. You know, today was pretty warm. It was muggy. There's been a lot of warmer days than usual. I'm seeing, like I said, a lot of these reports where people are getting busted for leaving their dogs in cars, and it should be reported. It should be treated like a crime, because it is. It's neglect and abuse, and you know, we've got to remain vigilant, even though it's October, which is kind of crazy, but it's still within the realm. You know, there was one report I saw of a dog left in a car at the casino, and I didn't think that they allowed that to happen, so shame on everybody there. There was another woman who was actually in court and left her dogs outside, and I really don't think they charged her appropriately. But you know, let's be vigilant, let's not be hasty, but let's keep our eyes open so that these poor dogs are not dying, suffering, etc. in hot cars. I think the worst one I saw was a woman who got arrested herself, which, all right, you know, whatever. She asked the officers to call her brother to get her dog who was in the car, and they did not, and that dog was found like a week later dead in the car. So, you know, it's not always in someone's control, but that never should have happened. So if you're that kind of person who is on that same wavelength of wanting to do a little more about that kind of thing and raising awareness, I haven't talked about it in a while because, you know, I've had some turmoil in my life, but on Facebook you can join the group K9 Safety Squad. That's K, the number 9, Safety Squad, and you know, we've got flyers that you can print. Just because this is the Northeast and it's going to get cooler, there are other areas in the world, in the country, that don't get cooler. So that will be something that you can use all year long. So if you're not sure where to go or you can't find it, why don't you message Posse Presents Facebook page and I can send you the link. Anyway, spent a really nice day with my friend Dawn. Want to say thank you very much for that. We had a really nice afternoon. Something else was supposed to go on, but we made a better choice in a way. Something didn't get done, but other stuff did, and it was fun. And I always enjoy Dawn's company. She's a great friend. So October is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and it's also Pit Bull Awareness Month. Now, these months that are designated for particular causes, you know, that's great. For some of us, it's always Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. It's always Pit Bull Awareness Month, because that's just what we do. It would be nice if people would work extra hard this month to raise awareness about dogs in shelters as they sit and wait and sometimes not always find a forever home. You know, there are hundreds of thousands of animals killed in shelters every year. I always say the pit bulls and the chihuahuas are the 2 top breeds killed in shelters every year. And, you know, pit bulls get such a, I know it's a very controversial breed, but they get such a bad reputation. People don't give them a chance. They're afraid without ever knowing one. And, you know, October is as good a time as any to, if you've got a pit bull, try to have somebody make friends with it, you know. There is an event this month for pit bull awareness, and I will talk about that towards the end of the show. But, you know, the months that designate the awareness are good, and they may open up some people's eyes, but like I said, for some of us, it's a year-round thing. And, you know, just a little shout out to everybody who works so hard all year long to raise awareness for shelter animals, and, you know, who pour their heart and soul into them, as well as for the pit bull as a breed in itself. So I've got some adoptables tonight. And, you know, last week I did 22 dogs, 4 cats, and an event. This is obviously a much more relaxed pace. It's all good. I picked some dogs with stories, and we're going to start with Morgan. So if we can have a look at sweet Morgan. Morgan just suffered the loss of his dad. His dad loved and cared for him for years. Unfortunately, his dad passed away in the home, and Morgan was there. Morgan had been adopted through the Sadie Mae Foundation, and, you know, when the officials went in to pick to take his dad out, you know, obviously Morgan was there, and they had to do something with him, so they brought him to the pound. But when the Sadie Mae Foundation was notified of what happened and that Morgan had been taken to the pound, kudos to them, because they scooped Morgan right back up. They absolutely remembered him. They remembered his dad. So now they have Morgan in their care, which again is good rescue practice. You know, a rescue should stand by its animals no matter how long down the line. But now they're looking for a home for Morgan. And, you know, I've got to say, he's got to be so very confused, you know. It's got to be horrible for a dog or any animal to be home when their owner passes. And, you know, there's nothing they can do until they're found. And one has to hope that that happens sooner than later. But anyway, on to Morgan, who is about 10 years old. He's got some arthritis, but he is otherwise very healthy. He needs a quiet home, a couple of short walks a day, and a little patience, because he is a little bit nervous around strangers, or a little bit slow to warm up to people. But once he does warm up to people, he's a great dog. And, you know, he doesn't deserve to be, no matter what, whether it's the pound or whether, you know, if he's in a kennel at Sadie Mae, he deserves a lot of love and patience and understanding. And, you know, to think that animals don't grieve is completely incorrect. I'm sure that Morgan's heart is absolutely broken. So he needs someone to give him a smooth transition and a lot of love and a forever home. So if you're interested in Morgan, you can contact the Sadie Mae Foundation at 860-865-0492. That's 860-865-0492. Or you can go onto their website, SadieMaeFoundation.org, and that's SADIEMAE Foundation.org. And I can imagine that, you know, for the right situation, Morgan would probably be the best dog ever. You know, those seniors are just so seasoned, and, you know, like they said, just a couple of short walks a day. He doesn't have a real crazy high energy level. He'd probably just be a real cool, chill, happy dog for the rest of his years. And, you know, just because he's 10 doesn't mean that, you know, he's got 1 foot on a banana peel, so to speak. He could have a lot of healthy years ahead of him. So, you know, if his story touches you, don't let his age deter you. Morgan will probably be, like I said, just a wonderful dog for somebody. but I'm pretty sure he's probably going to have to pick his person. Anyway, excuse me, next up we've got Pepper. And Pepper is a beautiful girl who has had no interest. And I can't ever understand how, you know, people just, there are dogs that sit in shelters and nobody inquires, nobody even asks. And she is one of those. She adores people. She's non-reactive to other dogs. She walks well on her leash. And she has the most wonderful smile. And I can't talk. When she has playtime at the shelter, they say she has very entertaining zoomies. She loves to run around and get it all out of her system. She is ready to go home and fill your life with joy. And, you know, she's so gorgeous. I love pit bulls. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. She is at Bloomfield Animal Control, and they can be reached at 860-242-5501, extension 5450. Once again, 860-242-5501, extension 5450. Next up, we've got Spartacus. And Spartacus is just a heartbreaker. I can't say enough about this guy and tell you just, I mean, his story is, it just breaks my heart. He was at the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter, and he was there for quite a while. He was eventually adopted, and he was adopted by the most wonderful woman. She had adopted another dog from Tojas, town of Hempstead Animal Shelter, who was a terminally ill senior. And she gave that dog just everything that you could imagine. You know, she didn't want to see him die alone at a shelter. You know, she did the best she could to try to treat him. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, when cancer takes hold, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. When that dog's time was up, you know, she graced him across the bridge, and she didn't waste a lot of time. She opened up her heart to another dog who really needed a break, and that was Spartacus. And, you know, everybody was doing the happy dance and, you know, thought that this was just what was meant to be, and, you know, one dog paving the way for the other. Well, unfortunately, she became very ill and can no longer care for Spartacus. And that's just, you know, it's heart-wrenching. How that can't affect him is beyond me. Poor Spartacus is back at Tojas, but, you know, yeah, he's in absolutely loving hands. He couldn't be in better care, but he really needs out, you know. He's a niche adoption. He needs to be the only pet. He can live with kids. He's got epilepsy. Obviously, they've got that under control. You know, he's an older guy. He just needs a place to land. He needs that soft place to land to spend, you know, the rest of his time. He could be around for quite a while too, who knows? But he needs someone who can be sure he'll be the only pet. They'll take a foster for him. They'll take an adopter for him. Just to get him out of the shelter and back into a home environment before it destroys him. You know, he's absolutely a priority. This picture is shared on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. So I'd ask you, you know, if you're watching tonight, share all of them. Share Spartacus. If you only share one, share him, because he really, really, really needs to get out of that shelter and into a home so that, you know, he can decompress and he can, like, stop being confused, because I'm sure that it really affected him too to bounce from the shelter to a home and then back to the shelter again. So anyway, if you're interested in Spartacus, 516-785-5220. Once again, 516-785-5220. Next up, speaking of bouncing around, is Jack. And Jack has bounced around a bit in the last year. And for the last several months, he's been at the Southington Pound. He is a senior, but still quite feisty. And here's the funny part is, you know, feisty, those dogs were known as feists, haha, little animal jokes. Anyway, he will need to be the only dog. So he's another little bit of a niche, but you know, it shouldn't be that hard to find these dogs homes. The poor little guy must be confused as well, bouncing around between, you know, home, shelter, rescue. It's not easy on them, folks. You got to give them a chance. So if you are interested in Jack, you can call Southington Animal Control at 860-628-8053. Once again, 860-628-8053. Next up, we have Emma. And look at that sweet face. I mean, I just want to love her. Emma is 14 years old. She spent her entire life living outside and sleeping in a dirt hole. She's never known until now what it's like to be a member of the family, to be a cherished pet. That's just heartbreaking. She's received medical care that she never had, and the only real thing that she's got going on is she does have some bulging discs in her spine, and that is her final cross to bear. You know, at 14, unfortunately, that's a horrible, it can be painful, it's a horrible thing, but you know, it's not holding her back. She deserves to be in a home and to spend like what truly will probably be her last couple, 3 years maybe at that most. I mean, kudos to her. She lived outside for 14 and she's still going strong. She had to have known that something better was going to happen for her. Anyway, Emma loves people. She's great with kids. She's a friend to all other dogs, and she makes the best cuddler and gives the greatest kisses. So, you know, she will need a home with no stairs, not even entrance stairs, to be mindful of her back. She is absolutely deserving of all that's good. And if you are interested in finding out more about Emma or meeting her, you can email animalsourfamilyinc@gmail.com, and that's animals, letter R, familyinc@gmail.com. You can check them out and more of Emma's story on Facebook and see what's going on with her. All right, so we've got some events, which means I guess I'll take the camera back because I didn't download any of the posters for these. Tomorrow is Waffles' birthday bash, and Waffles, you know, is an older guy too, just like Emma, and he had a really rough life, and now he is pretty much living the life, you know, working on his bucket list because he doesn't probably have a lot of time with us. But his birthday bash, which is an item on his bucket list to have a birthday party, is from 1 to 5 at the Market Bistro and Bar at 64 Wall Street in Norwalk. I know I talked about this one last week. You know, it's so sad to see that some of these dogs just never stand a chance to live the life that you know they should. But thank God there are people who do step in when they are made aware of an animal like this and try to make a difference, you know, try to make the end be the best that it can be, because you know what, there's a lot to make up for in a short amount of time, so hence his bucket list. So anyway, that is tomorrow. And then there is also the 11th annual Connecticut Pit Bull Awareness Day, as I mentioned earlier, which is going to be Saturday, October 21st from 11 to 4 in Warsaw Park, 125 Pulaski Highway in Ansonia. There will be vendors, food trucks, adoptable dogs, a costume contest, a parade of rescues, speakers, and a whole bunch more. That's a great event every year. It's a big deal. You know, there's a lot of pit bulls there, and you get to see some of the greatness of the breed. And I just hope that, last year that's where Ellie was, Ellie the pit bull. I don't know that there's any celebrity dogs lined up for this year, but yeah, last year was the first time I went, and it was actually a lot of fun. So there's something for you to do if you are a pit bull lover like I am. Sunday, October 22nd is the Sweet Pea Halloween Dog Walk, and that is going to be from 10:30 to 3 at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Bar Falls Dam, and that's 200 Coldbrook Road in Hubbardston, Mass. Went to the spring dog walk there, and that was a lot of fun, of course, with, you know, my friends Juno and Jake, and Sherry and I went, and hopefully I can get Sherry to come this time too. But Sweet Pea will have a barbecue, raffles, all kinds of stuff going on, Halloween themed. All are welcome. And, you know, I have been a supporter of Sweet Pea from the first time I knew about them, thankfully through Juno. They've been through so much, and, you know, they are making some of the right, I want to say progress, but, you know, it's still very precarious in their rebuild after that horrific fire. So keep your fingers crossed. You know, it's going through the process now. It's finally trying to move ahead, and hopefully there will be, you know, that victory lap of where they actually get to rebuild, and, you know, that'll be huge, and of course you'll hear me talking about it. So I missed a dog because I had my notes out of order, but that's okay because that's just the way my day is going. Let me present to you, this is probably why this happened. It's because I snuck him in at the end because of his name. Let me introduce to you Ted. Ha! Ted. Here is Ted. Ted is gorgeous. I love his face. He is just such a snuggler from what they say. He is very scared at the shelter. He just wants to be held. So there, behold your fierce pit bull, just wants you to hold him. He likes to play with toys, and he minds his manners. During playtime, he's an absolute gentleman. He hasn't been dog tested, but was very polite with another dog he saw. And he cries going back into his kennel, but he does go in without a fuss. And I am absolutely sure that, you know, he is probably going to be like somebody's Velcro, and that's fine. He sounds like a real gem, and his name is Ted. So it doesn't get any better than that. Ted. Zach's in there barking at me, I know. All right, so I came full circle, and Ted is with Pepper at Bloomfield Animal Control, and the number there is 860-242-5501. Once again, 860-242-5501, and the extension is 5450. And if you ask me, Ted and Pepper look a lot alike, but that's just, you know, that's just my thoughts on things. Let's run through the adoptables one more time. We've got Morgan. I love a frosted face. I just want to kiss him. Poor guy. And we've got Pepper. And we've got poor Spartacus. I mean, really, folks, share these dogs. Let's get them homes. Let's get Spartacus out of the shelter, because that's just such a bad thing for him. Like I said, he's in loving arms, but he really needs to be in a home. Next, we've got Jack, who's been bounced around, another senior. I love his little face too. I love those frosted faces. I can't even tell you. I have them at home of my own, and they just, you know, they're gold. Then we've got Emma. Emma, who spent 14 years living outside, and now she's inside, making up for all her lost time, needs a home without stairs because she's got bulging discs, want to make her last days easy. And then we've got Ted, good old Ted. And, you know, they kind of were saying in the description on the Facebook page, that picture of his head upside down, he was like all snuggled up into that person and wanting to be held, looking up at them. So I don't know, he just looks like a clown. I love the look in his eyes. He's probably going to be just the greatest dog. So yeah, that's who we've got this week. You know, we run through them again. Why not? Just like, I'll keep talking and you just scroll through the pictures. You know, shelter dogs make such wonderful pets. like I said earlier, there are so many of them that are not, they don't make it out of the shelter alive. And that's just, people need to be more responsible, you know, spay and neuter. And, you know, if you're going to take an animal in, commit to it, because, you know, these dogs aren't making it into the shelters by themselves. These dogs aren't in the positions that they're in because of their own doing. People are just irresponsible, and, you know, they don't spay, they don't neuter, they don't commit. So it makes it that much harder on the people who are trying to place them and the people who have to pick up the pieces. But there's nobody it's harder on a dog than the dogs themselves. So I'll take the camera back because it's probably close enough for me to do that. Seriously, Pit Bull Awareness Month, Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, you know, it's, if you've ever considered adopting a dog, a shelter is the way to go. Don't ever buy a puppy, don't ever buy a dog. You know, adopting is just the right way to go. I mean, these animals really need us, they need homes. You know, I'm kind of feeling the crunch because I usually have 4 and I'm down 1 and I'm like twitching, feeling like, oh, I need to pull my number back up because I can save 1, I can take another one home, and, you know, it won't have to sit in the shelter. But I gotta slow my roll with that because, you know, it's just probably not time yet. Gidget's only been gone 3 weeks, but, you know, I felt that same way after Duke and after Bocce, because in my heart, that's how I feel. Like, I have a space open up, I gotta save a dog. And I think that's how most rescuers and animal advocates kind of feel, that they gotta save one. So we'll see what happens. I don't know that I'm really ready, but we'll see what happens. I may be, I may not be. It is what it is. Anyway, how are we looking for time?
40 seconds.
40 seconds. So in 40 seconds, I will thank Nate again for making sure that my pictures went on the air because we did have that technological difficulty. Don't forget, tomorrow is Waffle's birthday bash. Here we are, they're pulling the plug on me. So I'm gonna say peace, love, and dogs. Until next week, thank you very much for watching.
Good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that.